Hey everyone, T2RX6 here, back for another Transformers review. And this is one I wanted to get done. Well, it's still kind of relevant. On the right here, you've got the Challenge at Cybertron Rodimus, who's coming out with another one that comes with just the Cyclonus instead of the Galvatron, who is an absolutely horrible figure. So if you're going to get that set, pick up the cheaper set that's just him and Cyclonus. And yeah, and on the left you've got the Henkei version. Now, the reason I want to get this out there, obviously, is because you can still get this guy. And with the upcoming Protector set, many people are getting this guy. And I don't like him. I mean, he's really not a great figure. He looks okay when he's standing there. I think the Henkei one looks a lot better, even if the chrome spoiler would kind of be better being the Hotrod yellow, I suppose. But the big thing about this guy that I don't like is that, you know, he feels very knockoff-like. This is knockoff Tantrum, and, you know, obviously not Tantrum's not a Hasbro product. He's a knockoff of it, and everything about it, you like compare the reds. The red plastic is very similar in color, and that's a big issue for me because, you know, with the fact that these are going in the Protector armor, or one of them is at least, one of these guys is definitely not going to match the Protector armor. They're two very different shades of red, and a lot of the details that are on your Classics version or your Henkei version are just missing, and he's supposed to be, I suppose, more cartoon accurate, but his face is a, you know, it's just a gray color. It almost looks kind of blue instead of that silver metallic that you have here. The red just reminds you of a knockoff toy, and more important than that, just the feel of the toy. The plastic itself is not quite knockoff grade. This is still lower, much cheaper plastic than this, but it definitely doesn't feel the same as original Hasbro toy. And I really like this one because he was supposed to be the anime colors, but the red is just, it's awful. It looks like somebody at you know, one of your dollar stores or wherever reproduced this mold and just used the cheapest grade plastic. I don't know, it just feels like, considering that when these two guys were brand new, and the Classics one still had more paint apps than the new one, and he's supposed to, you know, he's quote unquote show accurate or whatever, but just like, I don't know, I don't like it. The plastic feels so much cheaper, the lack of details. So I don't know, if you need a Rodimus, I guess it's okay, but personally, you know, considering that him and Cyclonus are both made out of this cheaper feeling plastic, I would say save your $30 and get, either try to find a good deal on a Henkei or try to find a Classics one, which with his release, the Classics one's gone down in price a little bit, so you may find it. Let me take him to his vehicle mode here, and we can do some more comparisons. Okay, so we're back in alt mode here, and I've got the two Rodimuses, Hot Rods. I prefer to call them Hot Rods, that's what I grew up calling them. I got the two Hot Rods in their vehicle modes here, and there is one clear advantage that I see of the new one, this new one versus the old one, and it's definitely something I kind of wasn't expecting as much, because the Galvatron was just awful. You couldn't get any of the pieces to line up, but this version of Hot Rod pulls it off a lot better. Things are a lot more, you know, smooth. You still have some gaps, obviously, but that's where my Henkei one kind of fails, and it's a pretty common problem that things don't quite line up the way they should. You can kind of push them together, then something else will pop apart, and this side, you know, fits together pretty snug. But that side has a nice big crack there, and I found no way ever to fix that. And this guy doesn't seem to have that problem. Everything fits together a bit nicer. Not perfect, but a bit nicer. And that's where it stops, in my opinion, because when you compare the two cars, there is a yellow flame on this hood, but it is so dim you can barely see the thing, and that's kind of disappointing because it just doesn't feel like Hot Rod to me. I can survive with the red. I've heard some people complain about the windows. The windows don't really bother me because it feels very cartoon-like with this light blue painted on, so that's not a problem. The engine doesn't actually look very bad without the black detailing. I kind of like it with the all chrome. In all fairness, this one does, the Henkei one does have some extra detailing that I threw on to, you know, panel line some of the black and make it look a little bit nicer. So I probably could get some extra detail out of this guy, and I might do that. I might add some black paint on him just to see if I can kind of spruce him up a little bit. But right now, as it stands, you know, comparing the two, I just don't feel that this one gives the same Hot Rod vibe as this one. The deeper color is at least what I remember the G1 toy, and I never remember him being more red than Optimus Prime. I always remember him being a darker red, and this red is most certainly much more bright than Generation 1 Optimus Prime was. Back, similar detailing. You know, you still got the lights. You got a grayer plastic as opposed to the black. Pretty standard. It's a nice mold. If you don't have it, I would say pick it up. But in all honesty, between the two, go for the classics or the Henkei version, because they just look much more the part than the supposedly anime style one. But again, you know, much more high quality, worth paying the money. Really feels like a cheap knockoff, and it's a shame to say that, but this toy really does feel very cheap comparatively. So this is T2RX6. Until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later.
But wait, there's more.
Well, I just couldn't wait anymore, so I busted out the black and silver paint and got started on improving Rodimus, and I was going to do the whole thing, and then I decided it'd be kind of interesting to do half of him, just so you can see how much the detailing brings out. So, on the passenger side, you can see that he's bone stock, except for I put a little detailing around the window there before I thought about doing it. Yeah, but other than that, it's pretty stock. And you can see, you know, once you start just taking out just a black real light and you get some of the panel lines in, really starts bringing out the molded in detail down there that you can't necessarily see. Towards the back, just filling in some of these vents here, and eventually I'll go back and do the other half, but for now just half. And again on the sides you can see that you can really make the exhaust pipes here look a lot better, as well as this body line and what would presumably be an air intake and the door handle. Again, here's the passenger side, and then the driver's side with a more detailed exhaust going on. And I did that both for the vehicle mode and the bot mode. So let me take them to bot mode and we'll take a look at some of those details. Okay, so here we are back with some bot mode action here. And again, the right side is painted, and so it makes him look a little bit awkward because part of him is painted and the other half is not. But just kind of to show you some of the detail work you can bring out with them and kind of make the mold a little bit more exciting. Again, this was only with black, flat black paint and silver paint, so a very minimalist approach on him. And it's going to be hard to see, but half his face is actually the metallic silver and the other half is just the dull gray. So you can see, based on the light, I have a light on this side, on the left and the right. Not this side, I guess you wouldn't know if I'm not pointing. But there's two lights pointing at exactly the same angle on them, and you can see the bigger shine coming from the painted right side here. And it continues down. It's really just about picking out things that you see in the bot mode that, you know, could stand to use some paint. So when we look at Rodimus here, and you can see, like I said, half of him is painted. Just some of the little minor details where it looks like he's got some vents on the side here, that you've got some molded detail that really is not really apparent. I'm not sure what the little circle is, but whatever, it's right under the vent. He also has quite clearly some pipes on the side which are almost completely lost just on the molded detail. So putting a little silver there helps bring that out. Even just the little things in here. For instance, on the inside of the arms, getting some of these vents and stuff to actually give him some inner arm detail there, where, you know, on your non-painted, it's there, but he's certainly not brought out there. And it's just a little thing that is going to make him look a tiny bit better on a shelf. Now, the pictures I saw of Rodimus, I'm not sure if it was Rodimus or Hotrod, I forgot to really check, but I know he had black, almost underwear, whatever you want to call it. So I decided, since you had all this molded detail in here, and clearly two sections of the belt, and then this like almost like a metal plating section, to give that a little bit of silver. The little raised emblem black, which again half of it needs to be finished. The belt buckle type area is half black right now, and half of it's not there. And, you know, just a little more black on the bottom to give them a little different look, which then brings you down to your legs, obviously. Fill in some of these little vent holes that are there. A side vent that I didn't even realize was under the legs until I looked at it real close. So that's the type of detail you can bring out on this guy. And then, just to give him something a little different, kind of the silver knee pad, and then the black brace, and then took the time to actually paint the whole circular joint here that you would see black to make it more coherent. And to do so, you actually have to continue on the molded line downwards, but I thought it was a nice little touch. And then again, you know, a little bit of vent detailing in here just to bring out some of the molded in detail. When we got down to the legs, this was real easy. All I did was put some black in here first, paint it black, then go over all the raised detail with the silver, and then finally at the top where there's kind of that emblem, I gave it a little more black there just to bring it out. I see I got some stray silver here, but that'll come off with either toothpick or fingernail did it. But if that didn't work, some rubbing alcohol if you're using acrylics. And then he's got the foot vent type grill thing, so gave that a little bit of black also, just to kind of pull that little detail out. And of course, now that I'm filming and he's under light, I can see a couple little spots where I got a little extra paint that has to be cleaned off, but that's okay, all part of the process. And you can see the one other thing I did, it's going to be hard to see, well, the light's picking up pretty good. I was going to paint the communicator thing black, but he does have some tolerance issues there. I'm afraid that he'll end up scraping it off, so I'm just going to leave it gray. Just decided to do the main dish in silver, which you can see there's a pretty significant color difference between the gray and the silver, so it just gives it a little extra detail. So when you combine that with all the, you know, extra little panel lines and the, you know, the vent grill and the intakes and everything, it really makes a more stunning looking robot. Doesn't do anything for this awful red color unless you want to paint the whole thing, but that's something I didn't want to go through the trouble with. But on one side you got pretty plain, you know, run-of-the-mill Rodimus, what everybody else has, and then the other one where you take an hour or two to just kind of detail stuff, you get a lot more, you know, definition out of him. So there's definitely good reasons to just invest a little bit of time and give him some detailing. I mean, Hasbro took the time to put all these little details here in the mold, and unfortunately without any paint, they're lost. So that's T2RX6. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you find the extra paint details interesting or useful. Comment below and let me know what you think. See you later, guys.